Great Wednesday for you. Glad to be with you. I'm Dr. Otto Janke. This is the weekly webinar. Good to have you with us. This is May 13th, 2026. This just came out last weekend. This is New York Times Magazine. This is the longevity issue. I love reading about longevity. I read articles on it daily. I focus on it in my chiropractic practice in that promoting you to be as healthy as possible for decades to come. That's why I do what I do. I'm a firm believer that the definitions of longevity, one being someone's long life, might be the most boring definition we've ever come up with. I think one definition that I have is that it is you doing longevity is you doing daily healthy things. My big definition for longevity is the act and intent of being so healthy that you leave something great behind by doing something great today. And that great doesn't have to be splitting the atom or finding a cure for cancer or anything like that, but it might be teaching a kid how to play a song on the piano, something like that, reading to a kid. But this article, they have a specific article in here called Why? Nope, I lied to you. The Quest to Reverse Aging. It is by Susan Dominus. Much of longevity science is overhyped, but one new area of research really could change humanity forever. I'm always interested in this. Can I ask you a question? What's the hurry to reverse aging? What are we in such a hurry for? There's a dramatic difference between being aged and being sickly. There's a dramatic difference between being aged and being unhealthy. That's an absolute key point. There's a dramatic difference between aged and being unhealthy. The assumption is that once you hit a certain age, you're a terminal case. It is the assumption in healthcare, in the longevity world, that once we hit a certain age, you are now a burden upon society. And everybody's in such a hurry to reverse their age. Does it always work out? Nope. Many scientists now believe that mastering cellular rejuvenation may be the key to transforming how long and how well we live. That is the dream, isn't it? That is the dream. Mastering cellular rejuvenation. Do you know you can do that already? How would you do that? Maybe if you get the right amount of sleep. Maybe if you ate rocket fuel instead of the typical bullshit Americans do. Maybe if you exercised regularly, properly for you. Maybe if you had social interactions and had your nervous system tested on a regular basis to make sure all the connections work best. No, let's not do that. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's the stuff you can actually handle. It's stuff you have control over. Scientists have taken skin cells from 90-year-olds and restored them to youth in a petri dish. Well, isn't that where it all starts? They have rejuvenated diseased mice, turning their gray hair back to black and strengthening their muscles. Okay? They have taken failing kidneys out of rats, rejuvenated them in a lab, and successfully reimplanted them. They are now moving on to pigs. Man, those rats are getting a great deal, aren't they? And in March, the first safety trials to test rejuvenation therapy on human beings began with an attempt to reverse disease in the eyes and cure glaucoma. Rejuvenation is one of the newest and most promising developments in longevity research. So we went from, remember, we went from getting people healthy, then it was wellness programs, then that moved into longevity. Now it's rejuvenation. Rejuvenation. That's what it's all about now. That's going to be the big buzzword for the next probably about 5 to 7 years. Rejuvenation. Are we going to be healthy for it? No idea. We're going to have a lot of products there for you, my friends. An estimated $2 trillion global wellness industry. Help humans look and feel younger, or to stop them from aging in the first place? Great question. There's a professor, a Dr. Belmonte, a scientist of great interest among his peers. When he stunned his colleagues by finding a way to rejuvenate genetically diseased mice, extend their lives by 30%. That sounds like an astronomical amount. How long do mice live for? Not that long. It's not as if they added 30 years onto a human. The procedure he invented is partial epigenetic reprogramming. Now, what's that? Partial, of course, a little bit reprogramming, changing it so it does other things. Epigenetics. So you have genetics, and you have epigenetics. Genetics is based upon genes. That's what you're hardwired with. That's what you got. Those are the ATGC. Am I correct on that? ATGC. And those are the genes and these coordinations, and like this is what you got. The epigenetics is, how are those programmed? What do we do outside of us to get those to either turn on, turn off, function even better? First of all, can you turn on genes? Yeah. Can you turn them off? Yeah. Have you ever read the studies by Dr. Dean Ornish? She had 3 great studies. I showed them to you last time. They talk about the Yamanaka factors also. Discovery of the power of 4 genes known as the Yamanaka factor won the Nobel Prize in 2012. And what it is, they take these cells and you take these factors and you enhance them. What happened, though, was something very unique. The first effort to treat mice with the Yamanaka factors, and this is part of the epigenetic reprogramming. This is part of it. Resulted in a biological disaster. In 2012, in a 2012 experiment at a cancer research center in Spain, the mice's organs failed as their cells started dividing uncontrollably and forming teratomas, tumors. Tumors made of bits of tissues like hair, teeth, and skin. The one author stated, "To me, the Yamanaka factors are not realistic for use in a clinic." Aging may not have to proceed in one single direction. It has plasticity, which means it can be molded and bended and folded. It can be altered. And with careful modulation, aging might be reversed. Here's my question for you. It all sounds great, doesn't it? It sounds great that we can actually reverse aging. Here's my question for you. I'm 63. What age do I want to go back to? Well, I'm still going to be 63 years old. But now I'm going to be younger? Am I going to have more muscle mass? Sex life going to be better? Sleeping better? How far back do we go? And here's the big question for you. Once we go back, how do we know when to turn it off as we age, as we reverse aging? How do we know when to reverse that? How do we know when to stop that reversing? Well, and quick answer is, well, if they can reverse it, undoubtedly they can be able to stop it. When does your body, when will your genes look at that and say, what the hell is that? Because we don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. Here's a big one for you. At Harvard, run by the most controversial scientist in the longevity field, David Sinclair, a professor of genetics. Sinclair's published dozens of breakthrough papers, but he has also developed a reputation for overhyping the state of longevity science. He had a book in 2019, Lifespan, Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to. I read that. Yes, I have. I went along with him on a number of areas. He lost me when he said that resveratrol was going to be literally the anti-aging supplement, and you need to pound that stuff down, and you're going to be younger. You know how much resveratrol you got it down? I mean, a lot. And he has theorized that the first person who will live to 150 has already been born. Okay. Aging doesn't have to be acceptable. Now, are we talking about aging, growing old, or are we talking about some form of physical, mental, or emotional disability? Those are dramatically different things. When we talk about longevity and people wanting to reverse aging, is it because we're talking about, one, a certain age I've reached, or two, because of physical, mental, or emotional disability? Those are not the same. Which one are we talking about? Am I already at an age which I am now? Well, I'm 63, so I am. I'm a senior. Our bodies are more like computers that can be programmed and reprogrammed and rebooted to be young again. Not if we're morbidly obese. Not if we are still eating shitloads of shit that we find at the American stores. I think one of the most amazing things we do that these articles don't dive into is how many mice do they have which are chronically morbidly obese and have generations of morbid obesity that don't move at all, that eat high sugary foods and that eat foods that are just absolutely massively pro-inflammatory, that are making our immune systems dramatically worse, their immune systems dramatically worse, that are literally sedentary. Our bodies are more like computers. They can be reprogrammed and reprogrammed and rebooted to be young again. I think that part kind of terrifies me. And I'll tell you why that is in just a moment. The most vehement disagreements are not over whether cellular aging can be reversed, but how far scientists can push it. I will say this over and over and over again, that there's a difference between anti-aging and longevity. Anti-aging is, for me, is much more cosmetic than it is physical, mental, or emotional. You could have anti-aging serums, which have been done for decades, that men or women can put on their skin, on their face, and make them look younger. I think that's much more anti-aging than it is longevity. What are they doing on the inside? Are they moving on a regular basis? Exercising, doing those things you're supposed to be doing? Are they eating just rock solid, rocket fuel? Are they getting great sleep, great mental, emotional interactions? They have a nervous system that's optimized by getting it tested with heart rate variability. Are they doing those things? or are they just putting a cream on them? I mean, I got nothing against it. I wish there was a cream to make this look better, but science hasn't done it, has they? Have they? I think it's very, very interesting as we look at this, because I think there's another aspect that we don't look at. And it's this, is that we get so enamored. We get so enamored with the possibility and the bright lights and sparkly things of science that we have disregarded just the absolute fundamentals of health and longevity. We get so enamored with the bright lights and sparkly things that go along with the possibility of what science can do that we absolutely just disregard the fundamentals of health and longevity. We disregard that stuff. Since when did eating just a smart, balanced diet? When did that go out of fashion? When did that all of a sudden, yeah, don't do that. Don't do it anymore. Yeah, by the way, don't do that anymore. When did exercising, when did we think we could chemically change that or now genetically change that? When did we think getting great sleep? No, we can genetically change that too. Or having a nervous system which connects it all. We haven't come close to learning what that even does. And you think you're going to improve upon it? We have no idea. We have no idea the downstream effects of messing something upstream. We have no idea the downstream effects of this. You think just by going and playing with those couple genes and those couple genes that the rest of the body is going to function tip top? No. We get so enamored with the bright lights and the sparkly stuff that goes along with science. We get so enamored with it. We're so awestruck by it that we absolutely totally disregard the fundamentals for health and longevity. We disregard them. We put them all aside. Nope, we're not going to do the smart things anymore, the things that have always worked for us. Now we're going to try doing those things. Okay. Why don't we do the fundamentals? Then when we go in and do any kind of epigenetic changing, they work better. Why don't we start there? I'm Dr. Otto Janke. We'll see you next week.